So Sudhir, my understanding is that there's been kind of a divide amongst geneticists between those who really emphasize neutrality and those who really emphasize selection. Do you think that's a fair characterization?
So the way I would say is that there was a divide between the two in the past. And I think divide has disappeared mostly because we now have so much data.
So who was on each side previously in terms of famous geneticists?
Well, so essentially, if you think about human adaptations and human traits and human DNA, people like Maurice Goodman and others, when they first saw the human hemoglobin sequence of the protein, and they saw it was different from other species, and because humans are considered more advanced species than them, it was very easy to say, oh, potentially these are the reasons why
we're different.
We are different and better. And before that, of course, before the protein era, you have Richard Lewontin and others who looked at through alternative means. They found that humans have different types of variation than others through gel electrophoresis or other such means. And essentially, when we found that we were different from others, it was very immediate conclusion in many cases that, oh, this may be the reason why we are better, not just we are different, and or we are human.
As if we are better.
Well, yeah. So definition of whether we are better or not, because we can think about this and because we are human, we feel that we are better. And I think in evolution anyway, better has to do with the time context. It's a different environment. So essentially, early on, as we obtained protein sequence of amino acids and we saw we were different, there was a big jump into, oh, this must be adaptive, and generally everything should be adaptive, and all the mutations that we observe in humans in large numbers must be adaptive. And that's where the selectionist or positive selectionist idea comes from. And right after we began accumulating more data, there were some scientists like Thomas Jukes and Moto Kimura and others. They began seeing a pattern, and what they, based on their approximations, their physics, diffusion approximation analyses, and a lot of mathematics, they ultimately made predictions that there would be a lot more neutral variation in the population. That means amino acid changes we observe are actually not causing functional differences. They are found in large numbers because they have no selection against them.
And you've got a new method actually using extensions of that idea in a very powerful way. Let's go on to that in just a minute.
Sure.